Starting your day off with a take on Vegas you won't get anywhere else.
Hi, I'm Holly Madison, and I listen to Brian Shapiro.
Hi, this is William Shatner, and I listen to Brian Shapiro.
Hey, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and I listen to Brian Shapiro. Why? Because I'm a good American. So is he. And if you don't listen to him, you need to pack up and leave this country.
This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
Come on, guys!
Oh, yeah. What's up, everybody? It is Vegas Take Time. Glad you could join us. It's your buddy Shapiro back at you, baby. We got a lot to get to today, a lot to go over. And this is going to be a lot of fun, by the way. I love this guy. He's awesome. Derek Stevens, the owner of The D, will be joining us in studio in hour number 2. He's got the biggest sports book that is going to be built for 2020. It's going to be the biggest sports book in the world. He's going to talk to us a little bit about that in studio coming up in hour number 2. A lot to get in hour number 1. I also want to plug this again because I'm really excited about it. Michael Avenatti will be joining us tomorrow. So that should be interesting. It should be a fun interview, explosive, call it what you want. I don't even know really what to expect, but it'll be a lot of fun. But joining us in studio, speaking of explosive, he's always explosive. Ron Futrell from Channel 8. Ron, how's it going, my friend? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you? I'm not the creepy porn lawyer that you're going to have on tomorrow.
I'm not going to say that tomorrow, Ron. We have to be nice.
No,
okay?
we're saying tonight. I said it, so you didn't say it.
I don't think
you're clear.
Listen,
you have absolution.
I don't think Michael Avenatti is creepy. Okay, I don't think I wouldn't call Michael Avenatti a porn lawyer. By the way, he still doesn't represent Stormy Daniels anymore. Number 1, number 2, he's made some mistakes. We all could agree on that, particularly with this FBI investigation into the NCAA and all that other stuff. He's made some mistakes. A lot of lawyers do a lot of bad things. I'm not making excuses for him. Regardless, I appreciate the fact that he's taking some time to come on our show tomorrow. We're going to ask him some questions about UNLV. We're going to ask him some questions in the grand scope of the NCAA investigation, whatever he can answer. And we'll also ask him some questions about Donald Trump. I'm also sitting across from Chris Wynn, who has decided to graciously come in studio for 2 days straight. Chris, thank you for being here. How
Always
are you?
good to join you guys and spend some time with Ron as well, too.
Yes.
Chris, how are you? Good to see you.
I'm doing great, Ron. It's always and you know what? It's a very musical feel here in the studio because Ron, has the axe that he's taking care of business.
Two
right
of
here.
some of my favorite media people. I will say that. Not to
what?
Not to be say anything
here.
Is that
bad.
a Shapiro compliment right there,
Just
Ron?
because we're here.
Did that just come our way across the studio?
No, I don't do
wow.
that. Well, I want to get to one of Ron's favorite topics, and I know, Chris, you're going to enjoy this topic as well. It comes to Donald Trump's tax returns. Yeah. Now, if you listen to right-wing radio, okay, they will lead you to believe that this story that came out by the New York Times, oh my God, it's horrible, about Donald Trump's 10 years worth of tax records. Who released this stuff? Oh my God. Of course, it was if it was dirt on a Democrat or Barack Obama, you wouldn't be hearing that, okay?
Is it dirt?
Well, let me get to that. First of all, I've been saying since Donald Trump became president that he is a scam artist, and then people say, "Oh, he's a brilliant businessman. What a smart guy, brilliant businessman." Well, I want to read you a couple things about some of his tax returns, and let's see if those people out there that are biased Trump supporters still think he's a brilliant businessman. Just brilliant, right? Okay. It reveals that this businessman turned politician reported $1 billion in business losses over a decade. Now, as you know, Donald Trump has fought to not show his tax returns to be made public. The New York Times obtained printouts of Trump's official Internal Revenue Service tax transcripts. Goes from 1985 to 1994. The data, of course, does not cover the years at the center of the battle between Trump and, House Democrats, but we still get a little insight into this brilliant man, right? This brilliant businessman. The tax numbers, 85 to 94, paint a far bleaker picture about Donald Trump's deal-making abilities. That's to put it bluntly, okay? Trump's losses totaled over $1 billion for the decade that is being examined. Let me repeat that. The brilliant businessman, the art of making the deal, reported over, not $1 million, $1 billion of losses over the course of a decade. Let that sink in for some of you Trump supporters out there that think he's just such
you
a
think
brilliant...
that matters? You're a double agent.
I'm not done yet.
Now I'm convinced.
I'm not done yet.
No, you could go on forever. You are a double agent to try to get people to feel sorry for Donald Trump.
No, I don't feel sorry for the guy at all.
No, he's a private... No, I know you don't. You're just a double agent, though.
No, I'm not.
What
do you mean double agent? I'm speaking logic.
You're trying, and Pelosi
What are you
is
talking
as well.
about?
You're all... I'm convinced by you continuing to do this, by Pelosi continuing to do what she's doing, by Schumer doing what he's doing, and you doing what you're doing, you're trying to build up more sympathy for Donald Trump as we approach the 2020 election.
Right, that's exactly. That makes complete sense.
You, my friend, are a
right.
Donald Trump supporter
okay.
because you do not, or you don't understand the effect of what you're doing.
Okay.
It's
well,
one
we'll
or the other.
I like how Ron's putting you in the category with the Speaker of the House and the leader of the
yes,
Senate.
You're a double agent. You're a double agent, or you don't understand the effect of what you're doing.
Okay,
Which one is it?
Let me ask you a question. Well, let me ask you a question. Let's see if you can let me see if you could be intellectually honest, okay? Do you think Donald Trump is a brilliant businessman?
I don't care whether he is or not.
I didn't ask you if you cared or not. It's a yes or no question.
A lot of American voters cared back in 2016.
I like what he's doing I like what he's doing for the economy of this country right here. Yes.
Didn't ask you about that.
He's a brilliant president for doing what he's doing.
Didn't ask you if he was a brilliant president.
I don't give a
That's not what I asked you.
I don't
Do
care.
you?
What
is your opinion?
I don't care.
I didn't ask you if you care or not.
No, your answer is I don't care.
Because you're not. You're being scared and you won't answer the question.
The economy is 3. I know you're trying to trap me, Ivanati.
I'm not trying to trap you.
3.5%.
It's not true.
The economy is roaring right now.
All right, can I finish?
GDP is at 3.5%.
Okay, I'm glad the economy is roaring. Let me finish.
He's opened it up for the economy to roar.
He's brilliant. He's
under
brilliant.
Obama's last 6 quarters, it did about 1%.
There you go with Obama.
Did about 1%.
Trump is a brilliant businessman, just like he's a brilliant policymaker. Let me just continue the story. During the period, Trump bought Eastern Airlines shuttle for $365 million. It never made a profit. He spent more than $7 million a month just to keep it going. Probably his ego was involved. His Trump Taj Mahal Hotel Casino, which opened in 1990 with more than $800 million in debt, pulling revenue from his other casinos and placing them in the red. Through it all, Trump paid no federal taxes in 8 of the 10 years, according to the New York Times. This is not a record of a brilliant businessman, the art of making the deal. This is a situation of a trust fund baby buffoon who was handed $500 million on a plate and decided to screw it up. That's exactly what it is.
In America is the best it's been in 50 years.
No,
this is what I care about. But this is what I care about. Unemployment right now is lower than it's been in the last 50 years. The GDP is 3.5%
and let's
per
see where
quarter
we're at
right
in 2
now.
years.
So we can't address anything in his past because of the economy today.
I care about what he's doing as president.
You can't criticize him at all, though?
Oh, don't criticize him.
Ron is one of those guys.
Ron is one of Chris, you're
you know what I'm saying, though, right?
No, go ahead.
We're
double agent.
Listen, Ron is. Hold on.
We can't blast Donald Trump about the things that in his past.
Listen, Trump.
You double
very
agents.
similar. Very similar to when Danny. I got to take some calls on this at 257-5396. Again, the number to call 702-257-5396. Look, Ron is one of those guys, with all due respect. You know I love you, Ron. Similar to Danny Tarkanian, you are a Trump apologist, and when it ever comes...
I haven't apologized for anything.
Let me finish my point. All you care... The only thing you care...
I bring up great things with the economy, and you think that's an apologist?
Let me make my point. The only thing you bring up, and yes, that's a positive, is low unemployment numbers and the economy. But you tend to ignore anything and everything else that's negative. Yes, is it good that the economy... Hold on. Is it good that the economy is good? Absolutely. Is it good that unemployment numbers are... Yes. But that doesn't mean that we should have a liar-in-chief that is a disgrace on a world stage kissing the butt of Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un. But you won't talk about stuff like that.
No,
Danny Tarkanian, well, you're an apologist. You're a Trump apologist.
George Patton had horrible bedside manners.
You are not capable of criticizing Donald Trump.
George Patton had horrible bedside manners.
You are not capable of saying one negative thing about Donald Trump.
No, that's not true, and you know it.
I've never heard you bring that up. Gosh, I wish Donald Trump didn't go after POWs. Gosh, I wish Donald Trump didn't go.
Horrible bedside manners.
We've got 6 people on hold. Should we take... You're raising my blood pressure.
Phone calls everywhere, baby.
Trump has horrible bedside manners, like Patton. Had horrible bedside manners when he went to visit the troops in the hospital in North Africa and smacked a guy across the face who looked okay. He was shell-shocked and said, "Get your butt out there and fight, soldier." And people criticized
You know what
Patton.
bad bedside manners are?
We hired Patton to beat the Nazis, and he did. Right. We hired Trump to recover from the Obama destruction, and he has.
Okay,
and
Ron,
you don't like that. You're a double agent.
Excuse me. Bad bedside manners is breaking.
Bad bedside manners.
Okay, is breaking wind when you're in a bed with a girl.
That's part of that.
Not going after POWs. Let me take some calls. 257. 257.
Oh, you're on the McCain thing.
Oh yeah,
again.
That's a nothing. Right, that's a nothing burger. Right.
No, that is a nothing burger. It's a pissing match between two. Between two heavyweights.
Right,
but you want to involve yourself in it.
Oh please, 257.
You involve yourself.
All right, we got phone lines are full. Let's take some phone calls. Let's start with Neil. Neil, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. Neil, how are you?
Fine. I just tuned into your show. You got a great show.
Thank you.
You know, listen, I love the passion. I don't agree with you because I'm on the other side of the political spectrum.
Which is okay.
Which is right.
But, yes, I think Donald Trump is brilliant. I'm sorry. He's and
Look.
he manages debt. Just let me leave it at that. He's learned how to manage debt. Okay.
So you think it's brilliant losing $1 billion over the course of 10 years? What is brilliant about that? Please explain.
They're only numbers. You look at what his
they're only numbers.
are.
Let me give you another number. Hillary Clinton got more votes than Donald Trump. Will you admit that?
Yeah,
that's a number.
Electoral college, folks.
Since you're a numbers guy,
welcome to the Electoral College.
Neil, since you're a numbers guy, can you admit that more people in this country voted for Hillary Clinton than Donald Trump? Since you're a numbers guy, can you admit that?
I think that the vote count in California should be audited because I think it's totally fraudulent.
It's not what I asked you. I said, can you admit that more people in this country wanted Hillary Clinton to be president than Donald Trump?
Yeah.
Can you admit that?
No, I don't.
Okay,
I reject that.
Okay,
so you present that with no evidence whatsoever, right? That in California,
that's a fact.
There were illegal votes that were made, and you have no evidence though of that, right?
All right.
Well, you have.
I gave you a chance, Neil. I gave you a chance.
No, but
come on, people.
Without voter ID, you have no evidence that the votes are legal.
Right.
How about that?
Yeah.
Without voter ID, voter ID.
Listen.
Okay, so Hillary Clinton had 3 million more votes because people had voted illegally.
So
we don't know. We don't know. I can't.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Let's
don't know. You're right.
The phone lines are jammed.
Without voter ID, we don't know.
Let's take another call. Let's go to Kelly. Kelly, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Well, I wanted to say something to Ron, my fellow Trump supporter.
What's up?
Hail Hydra.
Hail Hydro?
Kelly, what's on your mind?
Now, what's it mean?
I don't know what you're talking about, Kelly, but you lost
me. You want a song? I'll play
a
song. You got a request?
It's from Avengers.
Okay.
They're the evil, Hail Hydra.
Okay. In the last 30 seconds, I've lost half my listeners, but go ahead, Kelly.
You probably got you more listeners.
No, I can guarantee you didn't do that, but go ahead.
Wow.
I don't care what happened with Trump back in 84 to 95.
The double agent.
Really? Of course you don't. Of course.
Look,
it doesn't matter.
8 out of 10, you said 8 out of 10 years he didn't have to pay taxes. Look at Amazon. 2 years in a row so far, they haven't paid any taxes. They actually got a refund.
How about Barack Obama? People like you were talking about. Hold on.
Why are you bringing up Barack Obama?
I'll tell you why.
You're bringing up a corporation as opposed to the president of the United States.
Barack Obama hang out with Reverend Wright. That happened in the 80s, but you don't have a problem bringing that up. But when we talk about Donald Trump's tax returns back in the 80s and early 90s, you don't want to talk about that because it's way in the 80s and 90s. Do you see the hypocrisy? Do you see how biased you are, Kelly?
I never brought up Reverend Wright.
Oh, please.
Care.
Everybody on the right brings up, oh, my God, Obama hanging out with Reverend Wright. But then when I bring up something in 1985, you have a problem with that.
The guy who married him and his wife and said, GD America? That guy? You're talking about that guy again?
I was just trying to make a point.
Who brought up Reverend Wright? But I get your point. Yeah.
I was just trying to make a point. Go ahead, Kelly. Go ahead. I get it. You don't care about Donald Trump's tax returns. I understand. You don't care about anything that Donald Trump does. You don't care.
Why do you care about him? Why do you care about him, Brian?
I do care about the fact that someone illegally leaked, they committed a felony. This isn't something that's covered under whistleblower because they're not reporting a crime.
They're not his tax returns. They're IRS documents. I believe
he's also a private citizen.
It's not
and he has the right.
Whoever leaked it is going to go to jail.
Wait. The reporter was on numerous news networks today. She wasn't arrested by any stretch of the imagination. Nothing. She's not facing any legal jeopardy at this point. Yeah. I don't understand what you're saying.
Kelly, I always appreciate it when you call in, but to be quite frank, your call ended the way it started. You made absolutely and positively no sense.
She's brilliant.
And you guys are missing.
Kelly.
We're kind of missing a big point of this. The reason why people are interested in Donald Trump's past financial issues is because the 2016 election, what did Trump supporters say about Trump? That he was this great businessman that Shap brought up at the top of the show. And now is this not evidence that he's not a great businessman?
The left is getting pounded by the current, so they have to go back to the past. Okay.
All right. Well, let's ask some callers.
Let's double agents.
Let's ask some more callers what they think.
Stands, though,
it does. 257-5396. Let's go.
Pounded by the current. You got to find something, man. Keep digging.
Let's go
double agents. Let's go
to Eduardo. Eduardo, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Yes. Well, look at Tesla and Lyft and Uber and all these companies that haven't even made a profit or big losses. Is Elon Musk a good businessman, even though his companies haven't made profits quite frequently. So
not talking about those companies.
Whataboutism? You're bringing up whataboutism? Whataboutism? Yeah. It's not about other people. We're talking about the President of the United States.
Well,
you can bring up everybody else that,
I mean, they lost $1 billion on that. So that's just see, you're dealing in a bigger scale
Good point,
small fry like you used to. And also all the stuff about Kim Il-sung. Look at your buddy FDR bootlicking Joseph Stalin, putting out movies like Mission to Moscow.
What do you mean, your buddy FDR? What are you talking about?
What does this have to 2019 and Donald Trump, the President of the United States?
Eduardo, hang on. Yeah, Eduardo. Okay, Eduardo, I get your point. Okay, we'll just let you keep talking, and we'll just talk over you. Is that the way you want to do it, Eduardo? Yeah, go ahead, keep talking. Would you like me?
Okay, I don't. I mean, yeah, but
go ahead, keep going. Don't let me respond. Go ahead. Go ahead. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Oh, no, this is great. I love a radio show when a caller doesn't stop talking and just lets the host talk over them. This is wonderful radio. Please, Eduardo, keep talking, you buffoon. Get off my show! You buffoon, get off my show.
You need a song. Let it be.
You jackass.
Let it be.
257-5396. Jim, you're next. Jim, what's up?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, it's 1 minute you could go back and you could bring up something about what our dumpster fire of a president had done 10 years ago, but nobody wants to hear that on the right. But they're so quick to talk about, Obama wasn't in this country. He wasn't born here or anything like that.
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
This guy, you know what? I enjoy, Ron, watching you on all the different stations for sports and everything. But for God's sake, politics is not – it should not be your chosen career.
Yes! Well, that's not fair. Look, I'm going to look. Hey,
some people can't handle the truth.
Hold on.
I get it.
Let's
some people can't handle the truth.
The employment rate being up.
Down, 3.5 somewhere in there.
Okay, yeah, and how many of those households are holding more than one full-time job?
Ooh, I like this guy.
Ron, I work
What's your
two
point?
of them right now. My wife works one of them. You want to know why? Because everything in this country, all the prices have gone up, but no wages have gone up.
Wages have gone up in the lower sector. They have absolutely gone up.
Tax break.
Jim, can I add something?
Wages have gone up.
Jim, can I add something to what you're saying? And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but let's be very clear here. The rich are getting richer, and the poor are getting poorer. We could talk all we want till we're blue in the face about unemployment numbers and how the economy is booming.
What's your answer to that, Brian?
But the bottom line is that the people that are struggling in this country are still struggling. Okay, it's not perfect. Everything is not perfect. Okay, Jim is a perfect example of that. He's busting his ass to put food on the table for his family. Meanwhile, Donald Trump's tax cuts are giving tax breaks for the rich in the top 1%. I utterly and completely disagree with it. And I think that, Jim,
those tax cuts have boosted this economy to make it 3.5%.
For the rich.
For everybody. No, for everybody.
No,
for everybody. No, it is.
Jim,
and the deregulation has been very
wages
positive.
Have gone up in the lower sector.
Jim, I am glad you called, my friend. Thank you.
Look at the latest economic numbers. They have gone up in the lower sector.
Somebody finally going after Ron Futrell. It feels good to be on the right side for once. Let's go to Anthony. Anthony, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. How are you?
Hey, good, man. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up, Anthony?
I just tell the truth. That's all I do.
Can we all agree, first of all, that Trump's a total scumbag? We all know that. I mean, is there anybody that won't agree with that?
He's a scumbag. I don't know if Ron will agree, but I will.
I said he doesn't have good bedside manners.
Oh,
Your
please.
Point?
Bedside manners.
I didn't hire a doctor. I didn't hire a religious leader. We voted for the president of the United States.
We hired a reality TV show. Yeah,
fraud.
What we did is we voted for a used car salesman that sold you a lemon.
Oil.
That's what it is.
Go
ahead, Anthony. Go ahead.
Okay,
Go ahead.
That being said, I didn't call in to say that he was a scumbag because we all know he's a scumbag.
Go ahead.
My point is, and you're saying that the rich are getting rich and the poor are getting poor. That's not true at all.
Oh, really?
90% of Americans got extra money back with the tax break.
Okay, so does that mean that they're all out of poverty?
So does our 90% of
everybody out of poverty tomorrow?
What about and let me pose this question to you: how long is that going to last for the people that are not in the top 2% of this country? Is it something that's permanent as far as the tax cuts? I'll answer it for you. No, it's not. I believe it's after the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, let's make it permanent.
And then it goes back to what it was.
Let's make it
except
permanent.
for the corporation.
Make it permanent.
tax cuts only last until the Democrat gets elected, and then they get rid of them.
And they jack it up.
Well, Anthony, let me ask you a question. We could debate that. There's a lot of other callers, but I do want to keep you on and ask you this. I brought up the fact that Trump lost $1.17 billion in a decade of tax returns. I cannot wait to see his tax returns for the last 6 years. I hope we do see it.
No.
Do you think that Donald Trump is a brilliant businessman, like many people on the nutty right like to say?
Absolutely. You know why?
Why?
Because he'd be a complete moron not to take every tax break that he can.
Okay, but that doesn't mean he's a brilliant businessman.
That's what any brilliant businessman would do.
If he was brilliant,
tax break they can.
But I understand. But if he was brilliant, he wouldn't have been suffering all these losses, though. Correct?
Oh, okay.
Did he break the law?
You seriously? You think that, Brian? What you just said? What you just said?
I do.
If you're a brilliant businessman, you can't take losses?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I don't think.
Are
Well,
those guys all idiots?
all right,
How many
fair.
losses did they take?
I think there's a lot of idiots out there that take a lot of losses that have a lot of money, and I do believe that Donald Trump is one of them. Let's go to David. David, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. How are you? David? David? We lost David. That's okay.
Yeah.
The number to call, 257-5396. Again, that number to call, 257-5396. Let's go to George. George, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
No, I don't think that Trump is a brilliant businessman. I think he's a great businessman. Being a great businessman does not mean that everything that you do as a business person is going to be a huge success. They make mistakes, just like everybody else does.
Nobody's perfect.
And I would say that if you could take $500 million and turn that into $8 billion,
whoa,
you're doing pretty good.
Hold on, George. Where is the proof that, that Donald Trump is worth
messed up, right?
$8 billion?
You got his tax returns. Come on, you guys know all his numbers. You got all his tax returns.
I will. Okay,
man.
George. George.
No, we don't. He's worth.
Okay. George, I'll make a bet with you on the air right now.
Just making numbers up?
George, I'll make a bet with you right now. Eventually, we are going to see his tax returns. Okay, eventually it's going to happen. If he is worth $8 billion or more, I will wear a MAGA hat every day on this show for a week. If I'm wrong, you need to go on my Twitter page and put on a Hillary Clinton hat or a Bill Clinton hat and tweet me and tag me. Deal?
I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. But let me tell you something. You walk around with a MAGA hat, and you're going to get hurt.
Yeah, you're gonna, some leftist is going to hit you and smack you with a bike lock.
Fine, then I'll sue him.
You guys are kidding me, right? I see more. I see more of that.
Just did it this week in Portland.
I see more of those red MAGA hats than I see Tiger Woods wearing red on Sundays. They're all over the place. People aren't getting beat up all over the place with MAGA hats.
Bless Tiger Woods, by the way.
You know what I'm talking about, though. Their hats are all over the place.
Congratulations on his Medal of Freedom.
Look, first of all,
so well deserved, right?
First of all, let me just say.
Tiger.
All right, you guys done with your Tiger Woods?
It was great.
Okay, good.
Congrats.
If I wore a MAGA hat, which I never would, by the way, unless I lost a bet, and if I did, and if somebody physically assaulted me or attacked me, number one, I would call the police. Number two, I would sue their ass and make money off of them. Okay. Luckily,
no, they're in a black mask. They're called Antifa.
I don't care.
Antifa.
Okay,
they're in Portland, and that's what they do. They did it again this weekend.
What about white supremacists? Do you ever talk about them? The ones that support Donald Trump?
Let's go numbers.
Yeah.
Okay,
fine. Let's go numbers.
Yeah.
You want to talk about some of the shootings that have been taking place?
A lot more.
Okay, you want to talk about some of the shootings that have taken place, some of the white supremacists that were Trump supporters? I didn't say Donald Trump was responsible. Don't give me this crap that only violent people are on the left. It's only Antifa. It happens on the right too, Ron.
Yeah, not as much.
Oh, God.
No, not as much. It's documented.
All right.
Not as much.
We'll disagree on that.
The left is much more violent.
257-539. Let's go to Vince. Vince, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind? Vince, are you there? I believe we have lost Vince. 257-5396 is the number to call. Again, that number, if you want to be a part of the program, is 257-5396. Go to Will. Will, thanks for calling in. What's up?
Hey, Brian. This is a question. I'll tell you why, okay? If Donald Trump releases his taxes, will you release the names of your sponsors if you have any?
Will I release the names of my sponsors if Donald Trump releases the names of his taxes? Is that let me ask you a question. Am I the president of the United States? Do I have a responsibility to? First of all, you could just listen to the station.
He doesn't have a responsibility to release his taxes.
Will,
where does that say?
Why do you want to know? Why do you want to know who sponsors this show?
Well, because Drive-By Hate Radio, you're the sponsor who sponsors that.
Okay, so let me ask you another question, Will. If this is okay, sure, fair enough. So, Will, if you think this is hate radio and awful radio, then why the hell do you call in and listen every day?
I think people like you are abusive and half-wit.
Then why do you listen and call in every day? Why? I don't.
We have to hold balance. Men like you have to be held in check.
Why is that? Because I called you. Is that because I called you a racist on the show? Because you are.
You're a liar, a duplicitous trip.
I'm asking you a question, Will. You're not answering it.
Well, you abuse people like shock radio. You think you're Howard Stern, but you're not.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm not Howard Stern. I'm Brian Shapiro. Number one. Let me know when you're done, so I can ask you a question.
This is an epidemic here today on a Tuesday.
Will, are you going to stop talking so I can ask you a question, or are you just going to keep talking?
Let's have a real discussion.
Oh, okay, great. So now you want to have a real discussion after trying to insult me, which you failed. Okay, Will, if you think I'm abusive to you or callers, if you think I run a bad radio show or whatever you want to call it, then answer my question. Why is it that you take the time with your little Trump fingers and call into the show every day and listen to my show every day? Answer the damn question.
You ready for an answer?
Yes. Yes, I've been waiting.
Okay. I think when you're morally inclined as opposed to being a moral deviant, you're obligated to be able to participate in those things like you. You represent the dark side.
So why do you listen? You're not answering the question. Why do you listen to somebody who's on the dark side? You're not answering the question. So
Brian Darth Vader Shapiro. I see.
Why don't you honestly answer the question? I get it. You want to say I'm on the dark side and then I'm abusive. We get your opinion of me, Will. You're still not answering the question. See, people. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You've demonized. You've called moral. You've called in. Okay, I'm going to hang up on Will and then I'm going to talk about it because he won't shut the hell up. Okay, Will has called into this show probably 100 times.
Yeah.
80% of the time, I'd be willing to bring up phone calls. He attacks African Americans. I believe Will to be a racist. I've called Will a racist on the air. He doesn't like it. He can sue me. I believe Will is a racist, and I have the audio to back it up. So you want to talk about dark side? You want to talk about immoral? You're immoral, and I'll send you your white cape through the mail, you racist. 257-5396 is the number to call.
Brian's on one tonight. He's got those tax returns. He feels emboldened.
I've got 30 seconds for David.
David, it's a big deal or
David,
something.
I'm up against a break. You can either come on with us right now or hold for the break. David, what do you want to do?
Hold for the break.
Okay, I want to give you due time, David, so I promise you I will get to you on the other side of the break. The number to call, 257-5396. Again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the show, 257-5396. If you think this show is dark, I can understand why Will doesn't like a show that's dark. I pretty much explained those reasons. But if you think the show is dark and you think it's awful, then don't call in and don't listen. Because quite frankly, our ratings are up there, and we have a lot of listeners, Will. I don't need you. The number to call, 257-5396. Again, 257-5396. We're talking about Donald Trump's tax returns. We got Ron Futrell in studio, along with C. Wynn. I'm turning into a tomato. I'm going to take a breath, and we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this. You're listening to The Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN. All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. J.D. Sharp in studio. He has made it along with Chris Wynn and Ron Futrell. It is a busy, busy studio. We have Derek Stevens, the owner of the D, will be joining us in hour number 2.
I'm actually getting relatively claustrophobic already.
Yeah, you're sitting awfully close to Ron and Chris. It's like a sandwich going on.
There's a lot of stockiness in the studio right now.
Yes. Well, obviously we were talking about
quite a bit of bulk.
We were talking about the tax returns of Donald Trump, the fact he reported losses of over $1 billion over the case of a decade, and we have a few people on hold who've been waiting for a while, so let's give them a chance. By the way, the number to call if you want to be a part of the show, 257-5396, 702-257-5396. Let's go to David. David's been waiting patiently on hold. David, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to comment about Trump's tax return. I believe I've been in business myself for 25 years, and any businessman will tell you that when you're doing your taxes, you're trying to find every tax loophole you can so that you don't pay taxes. Right. I don't think there's a citizen out there that freely wants to pay taxes and tries to find as many write-offs as they can.
And I understand your point. I get that, and I have no doubt that Donald Trump has taken that approach. But David, the only point I'm trying to make, David, is a lot of people consider Donald Trump to be this unbelievable businessman, one of the greatest of all time, the art of deal making. And the only point I'm trying to make, David, is I think he is a fraud. I don't think he is the wonderful businessman that everybody, including himself and his family, make him out to be. That's all I'm saying.
No, and I appreciate your opinion. But I truly believe he is a genius in what he's been able to do. I mean, all the odds makers, nobody gave him a chance to be able to win the
and that's
election.
fair, David.
He is at minimum a marketing genius.
David,
minimum.
And I agree, David. Let me address that. First of all, when it comes to getting ratings, when it comes to say Apprentice,
which is a very important part of business.
Absolutely,
marketing is very important in business.
He absolutely has done a fantastic job marketing himself. He got tremendous amount of ratings on television. I absolutely 100% give him credit for that. But I do think his marketing, for example, I'm going to bring up a so-called professional sports handicapper. Okay, he's a fraud. His name is Vegas Dave. Okay, I would love Vegas Dave to come in studio. He won't because he's a coward, and I know he's a coward. Okay. But Vegas Dave was very fantastic at marketing himself. He made a lot of money off of people thinking that he was a professional handicapper when he bankrupted most of his clients. Now, I'm not saying Donald Trump bankrupted most of his clients. He certainly bankrupted some of them, but I just refuse to believe, based on circumstance and based on all the information we have, and we're going to get more information, he's not the brilliant businessman that everyone makes him out to be. Is he great with getting ratings on television? Absolutely. Ron, to what you said earlier, yes, unemployment numbers are down. The economy's okay.
3.5% GDP last 4 or 5 quarters.
How many jobs last month? Was it 50,000?
It was 200, over 200,000.
It was a 250,000 jobs just last month.
Unemployment rate is down to about 3.5%.
Let's see where we're at in 2 years. Let's see where we're at in 2 years.
Well, how much do you guys attribute that to Donald Trump, though?
What he's done is he's created an environment that's conducive to business in this country. He's done a great example. Let me tell the story. A real quick story. Carrier Air Conditioning. There was a dude that came before Barack Obama during his term, and his job had been cast off to Mexico or something. He's from Indiana. And what can you do to help me keep my job at Carrier Air Conditioning and keep them here in America? Barack Obama's answer was very well publicized at the time. We can't do anything about that. We can't do anything. Nothing I can do about it. Nothing I can do as a president about it. Nothing I can make happen. You're just going to have to go find another career, another job. You're SOL, basically, is what Obama told this guy. He said that to him without saying you're SOL. He said it. And what did Donald Trump do? One of the first things he did when he came here, he went to Mexico, went to foreign countries, says, keep our plants here in this country and move back here. He gave them tax incentives to come back. He did all sorts of things to be able to get the economy rolling once again in this country. There were active things a president could do, and he did do. And go ahead. What you're doing, these continuing investigations into his taxes, into Mueller investigation over and over again, all you're doing is creating a bigger victim in Donald Trump. You and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, I think you're all double agents trying to get him reelected. That's the only explanation, or you don't know what you're doing.
I'm not trying to get anybody reelected. I just want the truth.
Schumer actually complimented Trump yesterday in talking about China. And talking about, did you see that where he said, "Hey,
look,
good job, hang tough with China," which I was kind of happy with that.
Okay, so to both of you, it is possible to be a scumbag and still do some good things. Okay, it's possible. Tiger Woods is a perfect example of that. So one scumbag gives a presidential award to another scumbag.
Michael Jordan was not exactly a stand-up guy himself, and he was he's definitely the best basketball player of all time. So yeah, that they tend to go hand in hand.
Medal of Freedom, baby.
So are we back on the justification for giving Tiger Woods the Presidential Medal of Freedom here? Is that what we're discussing now too? Is that he's just absolutely, it was a great thing to do to give Tiger Woods that Presidential Medal of Freedom? Is that what we're doing?
All I know is that if the kid from North Carolina, Riley, if his family or one of his family members doesn't get the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
You're talking about the kid who risked his own life.
If someone in his family or someone close to him doesn't get the Presidential Medal of Freedom, it's an absolute.
I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to bring this up, and it's another tragedy, and I hate having to talk about tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. It happened again a few hours ago in Denver, Colorado, at a high school. 2 suspects right now are in custody. At least 8 kids have been shot. We know at least. And I hate to say this, several of them are in critical condition. And they're fighting for their life.
And this high school was kind of close to Columbine, am I correct?
It was.
It's 12 miles south of Denver, I believe.
Yeah.
Highlands Ranch.
Yeah, it's called STEM School Highlands Ranch, covers K through 12, and it has about 1,800 students at this school. And it's another one of these horrible, tragic events. We're probably going to hear about heroes and people that were shot trying to stop the shooters. How do we stop these things from happening?
Here's how you stop them. And what's your bet? I'll bet you guys, both of these kids, neither one of them have dads at home. 90% of those who go out and commit these shootings, look at the numbers, don't look at the numbers, 90% of them do not have fathers at home. That's a serious problem that never gets discussed in this country because people are afraid of talking about it.
It is a serious problem. I agree with you. You know what? Want to know what else is a serious problem? Guns, mental illness.
Dads at home is a much bigger problem.
Okay, but
dads not being at home is a much larger problem.
But I'm sure you will admit there are people that commit atrocities and murder that do have fathers.
I'd say 90%. I didn't say all.
We'll put
I didn't say all.
Dads being at home leads to susceptibility to mental illness, which leads to being able to get a gun too easily.
All sorts of craziness.
I say it
the
before.
Numbers are there. They're not mistaken. They're real.
Well, I'll say it before and I'll say it again. We cannot control whether a mom and a dad split up and the father leaves the house.
I think there's things we can do. We can encourage.
No, we can't control that.
We can't ultimately control it in a free country.
Social media hasn't been helpful for that at all.
Here's what we can control.
Our culture is changing. The leftist media can shift and talk about these issues much more.
But this doesn't have anything to do with.
We cannot give. It has a lot to do with government handout. Oh, yes, it absolutely does. And I'll trace it back to LBJ if you'd like.
What is government handouts?
You want me to trace it back to LB? Oh, what is government handouts?
No, you didn't let me finish the question.
The Great Society has ruined families in this.
And I will say this, Brian, single mothers in the United States are given quite a bit from the government.
I understand, but let me back up.
LBJ, 50 years ago, instituted the policy of giving handouts to single mothers.
Let's back up.
To give and rewarded them for having more children out of wedlock, thus removing the importance of the father in the home. Bing,
I understand.
Ding,
you made that point.
That was tremendous. That was a horrible policy by our federal government.
Here's a crazy stat.
LBJ.
A single mother in Hawaii makes more than a teacher by almost 40%.
Okay, you guys are
from the government. They get about $60,000 a year.
We can discuss what you're discussing, but here's my problem with what we're talking about right now. Okay, there are kids, teenagers that are fighting for their lives right now. Their families don't care about Democrats going at it or Republicans going at our government. You know what they care about? They care about their kids surviving, living. And I'm trying to talk about nothing on the right or the left. I'm talking about mental illness. How did these kids get these guns? What type of guns did they use? We could go deeper into it. What were they brought up without a father?
No, that's 90%. That's pretty. That's a pretty high number.
But who gave them the gun, Ron?
I would say that's probably too high. It's definitely a factor. But yeah,
no, it is 90.
Without a gun, these shootings can't take place.
We're having way too much tunnel vision here, though, guys. We're talking about mass shooting perpetrators. Okay, Brian just mentioned kids. We're talking about kids, whatever. I mean, look, there's all types of people from different backgrounds that commit these atrocities, right? And so that needs to be addressed. And you can't just have tunnel vision and narrow it down to whether or not a father was in the house.
Few of them have fathers at home. Just let that sink in. Let that sink in and try to figure out the reasons why that is.
Barack Obama was brought up without a father. He turned out okay, didn't he?
There's a lot of people that turn out fine that have extenuating circumstances.
Are you taking what I said and taking it out of context?
Well, no, there's a lot of people that have rough things that happen in their life, Ron. It doesn't mean you're going to be a mass shooter. You know, I mean, there's so many factors that go into play. It's not because I don't have a father, I'm going to go up and shoot at school.
He's not taking it out of context. He is applying an exception to it, which is what Brian does best.
Only crazed leftists would take what I said and apply it upside down.
Okay, no, I just wanted to hear you say something negative about Barack Obama. 257-5396 is the number to call. 702-257-5396 if you want to be a part of the conversation. Derek Stevens is going to be coming up here in a couple minutes, the owner of the D. Maybe we'll ask Derek if he was brought up by a good father. Let's go to Gary. Gary, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind, Gary?
Hey, I had two fathers. I had a father that died from Huntington's disease.
Wow. Way to turn down the show. Way to bring the show down. Yeah, way to bring this show down.
I can hear you.
Go ahead, Gary.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Go ahead, Gary.
I had two fathers. I turned out all right.
How do you have? Oh, so you had a
stepfather?
Stepfather? Is that what you're saying?
Stepfather. He died from throat cancer.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I had a regular father, and he was a hardworking man.
Yes.
And he had Huntington's disease.
Well, you see that, Ron? Gary turned out just perfectly normal. You see that, Ron?
He had two fathers.
He must be part of the 10%.
He's twice as good as everybody else.
Whoever leaked Donald Trump's things should get the death penalty. Okay,
I'm sure that's going to be happening. Yeah.
All right,
it's a done deal.
Gary, Gary, let me just say this. I love you like a father.
Gary, great call.
Thank you.
Lethal injection. It's coming his way.
Thank you for calling in, Gary. I appriciate it. Thank you for the phone call. All right,
You guys are trying to make Trump a victim, man. You guys are working hard to try to make Trump into a victim, and it's working. By the way, you guys are doing it.
All right, next caller we got, I believe, is it Ron?
Yeah.
Jeff. Okay, Jeff, thanks for calling in, Jeff. What's on your mind?
What's up, Jeff?
Hey, so Barack Obama didn't have a father figure in his life?
As far as I know, he didn't, yeah.
Okay, and Trump did?
As far as I know, Trump didn't really have much of a father figure either. I mean, the father did leave him $400 million.
This goes to show you the last 10 years. 8 years suck, and the last 2 are great. So if you had a father figure,
well, I think you're
make America great again.
well, hold on. I think
so much.
Okay, well, are you going to stay on the phone, or are you going to be a coward and hang up?
No, I'm on the phone.
He's making the
you
same
said,
points you guys
well,
make.
you said
You
said thank you, and then I assumed you were hanging up. I hope you don't, because let's talk about this. When you say the last 2 years have been fantastic, and the 8 years before that sucked, are you willing to say that Barack Obama did nothing good for this country, that everything he did was bad, and everything Donald Trump has done is good?
Why do you take everything extreme?
For small
No, what he's saying is there was more. There was more bad than good.
Okay, go ahead, Jeff.
For small business owners in Las Vegas, the last 8 years when Obama was president was horrible.
I would say for small business owners across the United States, including the Midwest.
Okay.
Where
What year did Barack Obama enter the White House? For you guys, what year did he enter the White House?
Go ahead, Jeff.
2008. What was going on in 2008? I seem to forget. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's foggy. What happened in 2008?
If you want to get into why that recession was caused, sometime. Oh no,
well, I don't care why it's caused. It was, something that happened in 2008, right?
I do care why it was caused.
No, but he went into office in 2008, didn't he?
Yeah, I do care why it was caused. It was very important to know why it was caused.
Why was it caused?
Bill Clinton.
No, it was a lot of it was that it was changing of the banking policies to reward banks for giving loans that were bad loans in the name of
investment banking,
free housing, and great housing.
So what's that to do with Barack Obama going into office the year that we had the worst recession since the Great Depression?
But I'm not talking about whether it was a recession. Yes, we all can agree it was a recession. We do not disagree. I'm telling you why it happened.
Chris, the Dodd-Frank banking bill basically almost made it impossible to raise money without having actual cash. You couldn't put up assets like land and real estate, which is a really big problem for a small business owner or a potential small business owner.
That was leftist initiated. It was Democrat initiated under the idea of fair housing and more housing and equal housing and everybody get housing. And it jacked up because they rewarded the banking industry for giving bad loans, and it jacked up the economy. It destroyed the economy.
Chris, have you seen The Big Short?
It did.
I have.
Yes. Let's take some more phone calls at 257-5396. Let's go to Ron. Ron, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind, Ron?
What's up, Ron?
Hey, Brian, how you doing today?
What's up, man? Good. What's up, Ron?
Listen, Brian, I had a question.
Yes, sir. I have an answer.
Okay.
Doubtful.
You are a cool guy, even though we're opposites. Again, I'll say that. But honestly, if would you defend your family members with a firearm? That's my question. I really think that you would. And
how could I possibly say no to that?
Well,
so you just said yes. Okay.
Let me finish.
Okay.
I believe you would because you're an awesome family man. I'm sure you are.
No, I'm terrible family man. But go ahead.
Okay. Well, I like you, so I want to make it.
I appreciate that, Ron. Go ahead, my friend. Go ahead.
In most cases, when attacks happen, whether they're schools, whether they're, what do we say? How do you say that? Soft areas of
yes,
gun-free zones,
soft targets,
gun-free zones.
There you go. Well, gun-free zones is obvious.
Yeah.
But in most cases, because the bad guy will take advantage, or the crazy guy will take advantage of any situation he can if he has how do I say this? If he doesn't have an opposite to stop him. And in most cases, because the liberal attitude in schools is no guns.
Let me be clear on that. Let me be clear on my opinions, Ron, on gun control. Okay? I believe every American who is responsible and not a felon should be allowed to have a gun. Now, we can have an argument. I don't believe people should be allowed to buy AK-47s, bazookas, that sort of thing. But I believe if you are a responsible gun owner, I have no problem with you whatsoever. The issues I have are mental illness. Republicans and Democrats need to find a way to get these people, or at least put them on some sort of list where they can't buy a gun for a certain amount of time because they have a lot of people coming at them saying that they are mentally ill. They need to be evaluated before they are allowed to have a gun. That's number one, mental illness. Number two, again, gun responsibility, the shooting in Connecticut, that mother lost her life and all those poor little kids lost their lives because a mom was irresponsible and allowed her mentally ill son not only to learn how to shoot a gun, but access to her guns.
Where was the dad? Where was the dad?
Well, but again,
he was
the
not in
mom
the
is
home.
the one that's responsible. Ron, does that make sense?
No, he was not in the home.
Yes, it does.
Dad was not there.
And I agree with you, Ron. But like I told you before, I mentioned I shared that I was a marshal for several years. Okay, and you did have some good points about you call it an assault rifle, and I asked you, what is your definition of an assault rifle?
Okay, let me yeah, go ahead quickly though, because I got to get to another call.
To me, is a 4-burst, fully automatic. That is an assault rifle, and technically, there's no such thing as what you call an assault rifle. It's just a machine gun and a semi-automatic.
Ron, I got to get to some other callers. I'm sorry to cut you off. I got to get to some other callers. Always appreciate it to have a good discussion with you. Quickly, let's go to Marge. Marge, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind, Marge? I got about 1 minute.
As far as this whole gun thing, I mean, it's pretty early as far as reports on the situation in Colorado. There were 2 kids. Fortunately, they had private security, and they were able to confront the people. So we really don't know the circumstances.
Correct, we don't.
As far as this whole I agree with you about the mental health. The problem is that it doesn't get reported, and I think there was a one case back a couple of years ago, and it was the military that didn't report to the FBI someone who was discharged. And then he got a hold of a gun and went on a shooting rampage, too. So you've got the breakdown in the whole communication
case process. I agree, Marge, and thank you for the call. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I got to go to break. But I think we'll all agree, every single one of these shootings, it's a case-by-case basis. Every situation is different. Every crime is different. And we need to examine these case by case. And Republicans and Democrats just simply need to work together. That's really what this comes down to, Ron. Both sides need to work together on this. We got to take a quick break, Ron. I know you're going to have some more thoughts on this. We'll get them when we come back. Also, Derek Stevens, the owner of the D, will be joining us. He's got a huge sports book that's going to be opening up 2020. It'll be world's biggest sports book. We'll talk to him coming up next. You're listening to The Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN.